From NBC5, this is the NBC5 News at 10.
New at 10, breaking news about the flooding. Worried homeowners face new threats of flooding even though the rain is over.
Victims tell dramatic stories of rescues from flooded homes, streets, and cars.
And imagine cleaning this up. Thousands cope with flooded basements. Good evening. Welcome to a special 45-minute edition of the NBC5 News at 10. I'm Rob Stafford.
And I'm Allison Rosati. Tonight, the fallout from the severe weather that swept through the Chicago area. Tonight, tens of thousands of people brace for new flooding. It's a serious situation that tests your nerves, patience, and resilience. Here's what's happening right now. The Des Plaines and Fox Rivers keep rising to near historic levels. Victims tell dramatic stories of rescues from their flooded homes and streets. Thousands of homeowners deal with flooded basements tonight, and the governor declares a state of emergency.
The NBC5 News team reports tonight on what you need to know and how to stay safe. The Des Plaines River could reach record levels in the coming days. The river already overflows its banks in many areas. The city of Des Plaines is one of the hardest hit. We've talked to residents and officials there all night long. NBC5's Natalie Martinez is there live. And Natalie, what's happening right now?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, the wind has really picked up, but so has the water levels all the way up on the sidewalk here. We're in front of one of the businesses that has actually opted to keep their staff on overnight. Why? Because they needed to sandbag, and they also are sump pumping all night long. Neighbors in Des Plaines tonight preparing for what could be a second, more devastating round of flooding tomorrow.
You can see that the water's up to the first step where your right foot is at.
Francisco Trujillo knows all too well what Mother Nature's wrath can bring. His basement bedroom immersed in water.
We got 2 sump pumps going, and it's just not getting the water out fast enough.
City officials also warning residents like Francisco not to try to wade through your soggy stuff after it's flooded out.
There's live power lines down there. In most cases, your electrical service feeds in there. There's no guarantee that breakers have tripped. The electrocution hazard is very great.
The chief of police also sending a warning for those who insist on trying to drive through the overflowing river, which could contain biohazards, and in some cases, sea creatures.
It takes a remarkably small amount of water to float an automobile and have you washed away.
Whatever tomorrow brings, businesses like Suburban Orthopedics and Prosthetics hope to be able to get back on their feet tomorrow, but they know they might need a plan B.
We have a list of all the patients for tomorrow, and we may or may not be open tomorrow. We'll just see how it's going to go tonight.
The chief mentioned some things to be cautious about. One other thing that he mentioned was also don't try and, pass through these streets and walk through the streets when you can't see what's at the bottom. You do run a serious risk of falling in an open manhole. We are live in Des Plaines. Natalie Martinez, NBC5 News.
A long night ahead. Thanks, Natalie.
NBC5's Nasita Kwan has seen some dramatic rescues and flooding in Lisle tonight. Nasita, a frightening day and night for many people.
Well, we have been out all day, all over the western suburbs. We have seen some very dramatic rescues with boats, dump trucks, even someone riding a wave runner. And so we've become immune to seeing intersections like this one. Completely impassable. This is Lisle's Main Street. And because it looks like this tonight, it doesn't bode well for Friday morning. It's not a nighttime kayaking trip. This is, in fact, an extended rescue mission.
I rescued him at 11 over here at the golf course, and he had to walk out, wade out in thigh-high water.
This second trip, a salvage mission, and there was some good stuff, but...
Well, my car, on the other hand, history.
For hundreds of residents at the Tower of Four Lakes Village complex in Lisle, this video explains why they're homeless tonight. The National Guard had to be called in when these buildings became houseboats, when they lost all power, even the generator power.
I had to help a woman who was elderly and diabetic, who had a heart condition. I had to help her down the stairs.
Rescues like this played out all over the Chicago area. Residents in these Hinsdale apartments and townhomes began evacuating at 7 a.m. when firefighters began knocking on their doors.
So I went to rescue her.
If there is a bright side, Pascal Perez says he canoed back to his place for the only thing he really cares about, Bailey. And Sean O'Malley says he's having a slumber party. You're actually going to put up a dozen or more people at your house?
Yes, I am.
Does your wife know?
My girlfriend does.
and she's not very happy.
So many of those residents at the Tower of Four Lakes complex here in Lisle will actually be able to go to Benedictine University, where the Red Cross has set up an assistance center. The other little piece of good news here is that you can see the roads are essentially empty, and it really feels much more quiet than you would normally expect for a Thursday night. So people are not out and about. The rains have stopped, but it's very likely that recovery will take quite some time. Back to you.
We'll take the good news. Thanks, Nisita.
People trying to make the best of things. NBC5 storm team is on top of this story. And Brant, is the danger of rain and storms over?
It looks like the danger of storms is over on the Illinois side of Lake Michigan, but the rain is being persistent on the Indiana side. Rain continues to move off to the north and east, but it's dry on this side of Lake Michigan, but the damage has already been done. Part of our storm team coverage, Cheryl Scott, what's the rain total look like at this point?
We have impressive totals to show you all day long over the past 24 to 48 hours. The rain heavy at times, picking up close to 7 inches in some locations. These are some of the highest amounts. Lisle, close to 7. Glen Ellen, 6.81. Oak Brook, 6.7. And Tonka there at 6.2. And because of all of the heavy rains, the rivers, another big story today. We are at record height right now at one river location, Riverside, Des Plaines there. We're sitting currently at 10.98 feet. Record flood stage 9.9 feet. Just to give you an idea of how intense the storm system was. Thankfully, the heaviest rain is out of here, but it's still going to take some time for these rivers to respond to all of the rain that has fallen. Brant.
Thanks, Cheryl. And now the story turns to temperature. This is where we stand now in the 40s. Overnight tonight, it will get cold. Some of the western suburbs encountering some upper 30s. And then tomorrow, the big story becomes the wind. Already, Natalie mentioned the wind was picking up. That's the story. Southwesterly to west winds around 25 miles per hour tomorrow. What lies ahead for perhaps a dry weekend? That's coming up. Rob, back to you.
So no surprise, Brant, it's a sleepless night for many residents in the western suburbs. They're trying to save their basements, and they're very frustrated tonight. They suffered a major flood 3 years ago, and now this. Our crews spent the night in and around Bellwood. It's among the hardest hit areas of the western suburbs. That's where NBC5's Marianne Ahern is right now. Marianne, a lot of people still pumping water tonight, right?
3 years ago, as you said, Rob, this was a place that was flooded out, of course, and also Westchester, Lombard, even Elmhurst. Tonight they're cleaning up, but you can see these streets, they're still flooded around here. Lots of folks are asking,